problem has to do with marginal average profit. We're going to find the average cost, average revenue, and average profit functions for the following cost and revenue functions. All of them are written in terms of X widgets. So the cost of selling X widgets is 200 plus 10 root X. The revenue of selling X widgets is 90 plus 50X. And then later on, we're going to find the rate of change of the average profit when 100 widgets are sold, or the marginal average profit of selling 100 widgets. So first, let's find the average functions. So those are going to be C bar of X, which we get by taking the cost function, C, and dividing by X. That's going to be simplified, so I'm going to split the fraction into two fractions, 200 over X plus 10 root X over X. And I know that later on we're going to find a rate of change or a derivative, so we want to try to write the equation in a way that's going to make finding the derivative easier, which to me means let's write it with negative exponents. So C bar of X, instead of 200 over X, we can write that as a negative exponent, write it as 200X to the negative 1. And then for this second fraction, 10 root X over X, we can think about this over X here as getting moved up to become X to the negative 1. And then the root X, we can think of that as X to the 1/2. So what we really have here is 10 X to the 1/2 times X to the negative 1. The rule for exponents is that we add the exponents when we're multiplying with the same base, so that would become X to the negative 1/2. And that's going to be our average cost function. Now let's find the average revenue function. We're going to start the same way and find R bar of X, the average revenue function. So we take the revenue function and we divide by X. And then split the fraction, that's going to be 90 over X plus 50X over X. Again, let's think about writing this with negative exponents instead of fractions. So 90 over X, we can write as 90X to the negative 1. And then 50X over X, those X's cancel out and we're just left with 50. So that is our average revenue function. And now we want to think about our average profit function. So we want to know what is P bar of X. Well, we didn't have a profit function at the beginning, but profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So average profit is going to be average revenue minus average cost. So that means that we'll take this function R bar of X, 90X to the negative 1, plus 50, and then subtract from that the whole average cost function. We're subtracting the whole function, so I'm going to put it in parentheses. So 200 x to the negative 1 plus 10 x to the negative 1/2. Put it in parentheses just to remind us that we subtract both of the components of this second function, so we're going to subtract 200 x to the negative 1 and subtract 10 x to the negative 1/2. So to get our average profit function, we just want to combine these terms. We're going to get that average profit is 900x to the negative 1 minus 200x to the negative 1, so that's negative 110 x to the negative 1. And we have this 50 constant that can't be combined with anything. We also have this negative 10x to the negative 1/2. So this is our average profit function. Okay, now we're going to think about the rate of change of the average profit, or the marginal average profit is another way to think about this. So rate of change of the average profit, marginal average profit, those mean the same things. We're going to think about that when 100 widgets are sold. So keeping that same, whenever we're looking for the rate of change of the average profit or the marginal average profit, what we want to find is the derivative. So given our p bar formula, we're going to find p bar prime of x. We're going to use the power rule on each term. So with this first term, there's our constant, bring down the power and subtract 1 from the power. Our middle term, there's our constant, bring down the power, subtract 1 from the power. And then this constant term, the derivative of a constant is 0. So this function here is our average profit, but I can write it a little bit more nicely. P bar prime, negative 110 times negative 1 is positive 110, x to the negative 2. And then positive 5, x to the negative 3/2. And now we want to know what is our rate of change of profit when 100 widgets are sold. So into this formula, we're going to plug in x equals 100. So that's going to be 110, 100 to the negative 2, plus 5 times 100 to the negative 3 over 2. It's going to be 11.005.